Welcome back to She Can, where women lead by example by telling their stories, how they got to where they are today, to guide and support others, because it's easier to be what you can see. And I'm delighted to be talking to Genevieve Sweeney this morning. Welcome to She Can, Genevieve. You're a British knitwear designer for men and women with a label of the same name. You're writing a new chapter in the story of British knitwear, one that threads together the elegance of tradition with vibrant innovation. Your pieces stand for craftsmanship, sustainability, and slow fashion, from the design process to carefully selected fibers and UK-based production methods. Genevieve, tell us a little bit more about your story and how you got to where you are today with your own knitwear label.
Hi, thank you for having me. So my story started when I was 5. I started knitting. I just lost my mum, and my nan taught me to knit as a kind of something to keep me busy. But I only realized 30 years later that it was a meditative kind of therapy process. And I literally knitted every day, until I realized that there was a degree in knitwear, which I thought, this is amazing. I can actually do something with my passion, and there was a career path. So I did a 4-year degree at Nottingham Trent, with a year in industry. And then I went on to work for global brands across the world in New York, Switzerland, London. And I did everything from design, development, production, and really learn how to bring together a collection, and how to kind of work in those kind of big corporate businesses as well. And I always had a kind of studio. I always knitted at the weekends and in the evenings, and I would spend my holidays traveling around yarn mills and factories, and I loved meeting the people behind behind the product, the artisans that made everything. And it was through kind of my personal kind of interest that I realized that the British knitwear industry was disappearing.
Yeah.
And I thought, if someone didn't do anything about it, it would disappear. And at the time, I was working for a brand that really lent on their kind of heritage and yet didn't manufacture in the UK. So I quit my job and then launched my brand. 10 years later, here I am.
Genevieve, it's amazing. So tell us a little bit more. There was obviously a golden age of knitwear in the UK. Tell us a bit
Mm.
more when that was and how that was. Now, all the knitwear things are predominantly produced in the Far East, I can imagine. And and then we'll talk a bit more about your process, your design. How do you start? How do you get a finished product out to us consumers?
Yeah, so I think, well, the golden age, definitely in Scotland, I'd say kind of from the 40s to the
Mm,
60s.
mm,
Real kind of, well, Scotland's always been really known and celebrated for its cashmere as well. Yeah, so all the kind of mills would have been filled with men knitting on old Dubied machines,
mm,
and then the women would have been hand linking, doing the finishing. So it was a real community. You would
mm,
pick which factory you wanted to work with when you were 16, and you would meet your partner, and your family would work there, and it was that real kind of strong community. And then in the 70s, when kind of a lot of brands started looking towards the Far East, they slowly started reducing in size
mm.
and then quite dramatically closing down. So I've been working so I work with about 7 different factories across the UK. They're all quite different sizes. Some of them are small artisans, cottage
Mm.
industry, like in their homes. Others are kind of small family run. So there's kind of 4 to 10 people, and others are kind of much bigger. So yes, it's all very different, but they all do a very different skill.
Mm.
And what I really love is the kind of the hand process, the hand intarsia, the hand linking, which is still a dying skill, even though there are those few factories that do it. A lot of factories, because they can find, employ people to do
Mm.
the linking,
Mm.
um, they've now taken on kind of like whole garment manufacturing, really kind of innovative manufacturing, which means that the garment is knitted in one piece. So there's less need for that hand function.
Mm.
So a couple of weeks ago, I welcomed my first knitting machine into into the studio. So I will be manufacturing part of the production in-house and teaching those hand skills as well, doing apprenticeships to be able to kind of continue those skills. So how I make the collection, I design everything in-house. I work very differently with different factories. Some of them I give them a tech pack and then they make the prototype. Others I will go up there and we will program and knit the items on the machine together,
Mhm.
which is really exciting. I love working that way. And then sometimes I'll rent a machine, work with a technician, and it's quite a collaborative process. So it's all quite different, but that's what I love about it because I don't know, it means that you can work with different scale businesses in different ways.
Genevieve, I love listening to you because everything you do in the process seems to be so intentional and you're so rooted in doing the right thing, as in, choosing the fibers that are sustainable, doing so much in-house, getting it mostly handmade. You're very involved in the process. How do you ensure that you meet this expectation you have on yourself in terms of sustainability and production and sales? And how do you, it's a beautiful circle, and it has to be economical. So how tell us a bit more about those details that make that work.
Yes, I think because I'd worked in the fashion industry and for quite global brands, I saw the mass manufacturing, I saw the waste, I saw, thousands of items being ordered, knowing that most of them will end up in a outlet or a
Mm,
warehouse sitting in boxes. And that just never felt right. So when I
mm,
started my brand, I wanted just to do the opposite. And that is working with small factories, it's working locally, it's being able to see, the yarn being spun and the people making it. I guess that transparency. So I think I always take a long time to develop something. I'll often knit something, wear it for, 6 months, a year sometimes, and then, just to make sure that, it doesn't have, pilling and it wears well and it works well throughout the year in your wardrobe. So my knitwear, I'd say majority of it, probably like 90% of it, I wear all throughout the year, apart from the really, chunky, really wintry ones. Um, so I feel that having something in your wardrobe that works through the seasons is a really it is so well. It's it's sustainable. It's responsible because it's that kind of catch-all piece. It's not just
yeah.
a piece that you can wear now and then. And then with the yarns, and I guess I always make sure that I've been to the yarn mill and I've seen
Mm,
how they and
mm,
I see how they process. And I do work with some sparkly yarns with my socks, but I've been to the mills and I've seen how they work. And they run on solar panels. They reuse. They clean all their water that's then used for agriculture.
mm.
They really work so well to make sure that there's little waste and they give back to the land around them, and so that's why I felt that was I wanted to support them, and also it's a sparkly sock that's really soft against your feet, lasts forever. I'm still wearing mine from like 7 years ago. So yeah, so I'm very considered with the different fabrics, and I want to make sure it's something that really works well in our wardrobe as well.
Genevieve, and tell us a little bit about the marketing and sales aspect. How do you sell your brand? Where do you sell your brand?
So I sell direct to consumer through the
Mhm.
website mainly. I do a little bit of wholesale with a few boutiques, but I sell well about 40% of our sales is international and mainly in the US and a little bit in Australia as well. So yes, it's really exciting that my story and the brand connects with it across the world.
Yeah, amazing. So, Genevieve, how can we all practice a little bit more slow fashion?
I think it's being conscious with what you've got in your wardrobe and what's missing, I think is really important. And well, I think as your style evolves, you learn what colors and what styles suit you. And I think buying natural fibers is really, really important. So, wool is breathable. It's soft against your skin. It regulates your temperature. So a wool cardigan is just fantastic for that all throughout the year. Um, and then I think it's, yeah, like buying from small brands or brands that are transparent in their manufacturing, so you know where something's made. And it's also, I think, quite wonderful to know that the communities it then benefits through that purchase.
Yeah, it's amazing. Genevieve, what do you feel are your main takeaways or learnings of having your own label for 10 years?
So I think that connection, the kind of community is so important. And I feel sometimes as if I feel quite stuck, or if I feel that there's a particular challenge, it is that kind of reaching out to people and having conversations that really help kind of evolve the thought, or kind of tackle those challenges as well. So I feel that it is that kind of really um yeah, kind of reaching out to your community, and that kind of idea that stuff leaves the stuff. The more that you put out there, the more that kind of comes back in a positive way.
Yeah. And I feel, Genevieve, I don't know if you feel that, but I feel there's a real trend towards those almost home knitted jumpers and cardigans now. And there seem to be more people doing it, and it seems to be more on social media. I just feel like in the last year, I see ads more and more for, young brands who do this much better than we used to do it. Do you feel that's a nice way for you to be a part of?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's knitwear has become more than, I don't know, I feel like it's really evolved over the years. Like in the
Yeah.
80s, it was that real kind of special kind of statement pieces, and then it really pared down that you would only see
Mm.
kind of a basic jumper and a basic cardigan, and there's so much possibility with it, and it is really exciting to see brands doing making beautiful knitwear in sustainable ways.
Genevieve, and what does it mean to you to be an entrepreneur?
Um, I feel it is, I guess, the creativity I
Mm.
love, and that community, like building that community around me, and having the chance to work with incredible people day in, day out is what I really love.
And what tips would you give to people listening who are about to start something? They're about to start this entrepreneurial journey. What tips would you give them?
And I think, well, the kind of the one that always kind of comes back and things true is that really listening to your guts. If something doesn't feel right, then it really isn't. And also if if it drives you, if you're thinking about it constantly, then it is completely the right thing, and to go with it, definitely.
Yeah. Genevieve, if you had one message for your government or our government, what would you tell them to make your life as an entrepreneur easier?
I think funding and support for small businesses that they, taking on a huge risk, investing in machinery, investing in staff, and there is very little out there for my sector and a lot of the
Mm,
sectors of other small businesses around me.
mm,
And ultimately, the more we grow as a business, the more jobs we employ, the which has that effect on the local community and economy as well. And also, especially after Brexit, that there is little investment in British manufacturing, and then we're in this Brexit situation at the moment. So I feel like there is needs to be more focus on supporting small businesses, definitely.
definitely, yeah. Genevieve, how do you lead? How do you lead with your story on a daily basis to push your brand forward?
I guess I lead through my storytelling, sharing my journey. I have an amazing kind of small team of women that really support me and tell that story as well.
Mm.
And yeah, so I think it's the personal, that personal connection and storytelling.
Yeah. What would you say are the challenges that you face that you need to reframe?
Um, the challenges, I think, I guess like every business, it's cash flow, it's
Mm.
seasonality, it's the wanting to scale sustainably, slowly, but also I guess meeting demand.
Mm.
I guess it's that kind of growth. It's always a challenge, but I
Mm.
guess an exciting challenge as well.
And what would you say are you most proud of to date?
I am I'm really proud of building a business that supports incredible manufacturers across the UK that gives customers something that they, comfort, joy, and warmth through clothing, and kind of, brings, I guess, connects the wearer and the craft together. I think that's what I'm really, really proud about.
Beautiful. So, what are your plans and goals for the next years?
So, my plan is starting my small factory. So the the wheels are moving on it with our recent in our recent knitting machine. So next we are finding an apprentice, and then we are looking to grow the manufacturing team. So for the next couple of years, I'm looking to grow that and grow the business internationally as well. So exciting, kind of busy time at the moment.
Genevieve, and what does that mean, grow your business internationally? What will that take?
So I have our customers really in the US really love the brand and are
Mm.
incredibly loyal. And I've well, the business is nearly 40% of our revenue, and it's all been organic.
Mm.
And I've never kind of done any marketing spend or anything on it. And I would love to do trunk shows and do
Yeah.
kind of more in person, get to meet the customer and just spend time there and do pop-ups and events. So that's the real goal. But that's definitely
Genevieve, what do you feel our listeners can take away from your story? Just summing up your story.
So I think that there's a real kind of true power in following your passion and your purpose, and how your values and your work can really connect into one another, and yeah, do good for you further.
Genevieve, I'm so happy for you to be on She Can and tell your beautiful story of how a tool to cope and a therapy of some sort turned into a hobby that turned into a business, and 10 years later is a beautiful business that is still expanding in a slow fashion type way and showing that that can be done because we don't have enough examples in that space. And please, everyone, look up Genevieve Sweeney Knitwear and order away. You're helping a beautiful small business to reach new heights.